Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 273. Ford has killed a program to develop a Tesla-like electronic brain. And a former GM executive talks about how GM continues to plant the seeds of its own destruction. And even though we mostly hear about how bad Tesla is apparently doing, well, in Norway, Tesla just set some new records. And Neuralink received a breakthrough device designation from the FDA. And Microsoft is apparently preparing to host Elon Musk's Grok AI. And Jim Farley was also out saying that he agrees with Trump's tariffs. And Jensen from Nvidia talked about how robots will be widely available in just 5 years' time. And Tesla seems to have confirmed that Robotaxi release for Austin on the 1st of June. So in less than 1 month. Oh yeah, all of this and much more in today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
It seems like Tesla has just confirmed that their robotaxis for Austin will launch not just in June, but on the 1st of June. So in less than 1 month. Tesla AI posted this, where they asked Grok how long until June, and Grok answered June 1st, 2025 is 31 days from today, May the 1st, 2025. So why would Tesla AI make such a post if it wasn't because they're going to start their robotaxis in June, but not just in June sometime, but the 1st of June. And we are seeing everything coming together, and not just for the Model Ys, but also for the Cybercabs. We know the Model Y will be the first vehicle Tesla will test out because they are already doing some testing with their employees in Austin and have already driven over 15,000 miles of robotaxi driving. Still supervised, but the cars aren't doing everything themselves. They just still requires a safety driver. But with a huge amount of gigacasting for the Cybercab we are seeing piling up outside the Texas factory, I still think the Cybercab will come very soon after. Because if everything goes smoothly with the Model Y robotaxi, there are nothing hindering Tesla in deploying a few Cybercabs as well. They are all running the same software, so it shouldn't be a problem. And Omar also shared on X yet another impressive drive in his Tesla. As he wrote yesterday, my Tesla completed 75 minutes driving for me from parking lot to parking lot entirely on its own. This isn't an agreement to explore a potential collaboration in a few years like Waymo and Toyota. This is built into every new Tesla today. The market hasn't digested that yet. Yep, most people are really not getting this and the implications. But in less than a month now, we will see Tesla test it out publicly. And then we will know very soon if Tesla's solution will work, as we all hope, or if Waymo is going to win this one. So place your bets, as we are coming to an end very soon. Because if Tesla also shows that robotaxis will save lives, approvals around the world will take off rapidly, as Max also pointed out in his post on X. I like to think of myself as an awesome driver, but autopilot is now just better than me. It's not distracted and always paying attention. The life it saves is growing and should be highlighted more. Exactly. And we have seen many times that Tesla's full self-driving is acting to gestures, but not sure if it's actually understanding them. But with this video, I think it's pretty clear that it does. It is a Chinese video that is dubbed, so that is why the commentary sound a little weird.
The corner, turn the corner, turn the corner, turn the corner. Okay, 2 police officers by the roadside are checking for drunk driving, and they have already waved. Let's see if FSD can recognize the gesture and stop on its own. Wow, it stopped, but it stopped a bit far away. Wow, guys, after seeing the gesture, it moved on its own. Can you believe that? They are checking for drunk driving now. I haven't taken over at all, and the full self-driving is still automatically driving for me, see? Wow. This experience is truly amazing.
And we have heard analysts talk about, but Tesla still needs to get approval for robotaxi driving in Austin. Waymo already have that. If we are less than 1 month away from Tesla having robotaxis on the street, I think it's safe to say so does Tesla. But all the discussions will end very soon, because in about 2 months from now, we will know if Tesla systems work. And if it does, well, no one else will be able to keep up with this. Tesla already has production of robotaxis at scale, 1.8 million to be exact. Tesla just has to decide how many they want to sell to customers and how many they want to deploy into their own operated robotaxi fleet. And then comes the Cybercab on top of all of that and will make Tesla's cost structure unmatched by anyone in the market. Yes, we have been talking about this for years, but now we are less than 1 month away. And I'm always working on my content for my YouTube channel, so it's very important for me to always stay connected. Like last year when I was out traveling basically every single month. So it was very important that I was always connected even on the go. This connectivity brings with it a critical need for privacy and security, which is why I'm excited to talk about today's sponsor, NordVPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, with an emphasis on private. It encrypts your internet traffic, masks your IP address, and hides your virtual location, significantly enhancing your online privacy and security. In today's climate, where cyber threats are as common as they come, a VPN makes hacking close to impossible. And I have personally been using NordVPN many times when abroad. Remember when I was in the US for the Fully Charged live show, I was using the public Wi-Fi there, which isn't exactly known for its security, but with NordVPN I ensured my connection remained private and secure. Plus, while I was there, I could still watch my favorite Danish shows as if I was back home. It's just a matter of changing my IP to Denmark and I'm all set. And let's not forget the time when I was in China last year. There, access to the platform like YouTube or Google and many others is heavily restricted. NordVPN lets you bypass these restrictions, maintaining your connection to the digital world, so I could still upload to YouTube. Without a VPN, that would have been impossible. But NordVPN goes beyond just altering your IP. It blocks malware, stops intrusive tracking, and instantly nicks those annoying ads. Plus, it provides an always-on cybersecurity seal, protecting you even when you are not actively connected to the VPN server. So I do use this at home as well. The user interface, dead simple. Just click the country you want and your IP address changes in an instant. If this sounds like something you need, NordVPN has an exclusive deal for you. Head over to the link in the description, nordvpn.com/bestinTesla, to snag a 2-year plan with a huge discount and additional 4 months for free. It's completely risk-free with their 30-day money-back guaranteed, so you have nothing to lose. So click the link to start enjoying a safer, more open internet today, and a big thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Ford has killed a program to develop the Tesla-like electronic brain. Ford has invested heavily in a system to streamline vehicle software functions. The goal was to cut cost, improve quality, and add profitable features in both electric and gasoline-powered vehicles. The project was abandoned because of ballooning cost and delays. So yet another legacy automakers that has to give up to try to catch up to Tesla in software capabilities. Volkswagen thought they could do it by buying Carrot, but that ended up very badly, and now they are partnering up with both Xpeng in China and Rivian in the US to help them out. And now we can add Ford to the list of legacy automakers that failed at creating their own in-house software. But this is a big problem, as Jim Farley has said himself. They have to make the software in-house or it will never work. Jim has explained it very nicely why software is so hard for legacy automakers. If you have forgotten and don't understand why this is a huge problem for Ford, listen to Jim Farley himself explain it back in June 2023.
What's interesting is that in China, those that are successful in the EV business that had ICE products like Geely and SAIC and Chang'an, they all started new brands because they realized that these are digital products, and what will differentiate these products is not going to be, a noise, vibration, or harshness, or bigger engines or smaller engines or efficiency. It's going to be software, and it's going to be charging. It's going to be physical experiences. So they knew that as long as they had ICE vehicles and EVs in the same brand, they would fail. So they started sub-brands. Every one of them has started sub-brands that aren't like their main company. And those sub-brands vehicle, their identity and differentiation is not the physical hardware. If I explain to, the listeners how crazy our software system is and why it's so difficult for legacy car companies to get software right, I'll do it very quickly. Yeah. So to say probably $500 a vehicle, or let's say 350 quid a vehicle.
Yeah.
We farmed out all the modules that control the vehicles to our suppliers because we could bid them against each other. So Bosch would do the body control module, someone else would do the seat control module, someone else would do the engine control module. Right. And we'd have about 150 of these modules with semiconductors all through the car. The problem is the software are all written by, 150 different companies, and they don't talk to each other.
Right.
So even though it says Ford on the front, I actually have to go to Bosch to get permission to change their seat control software.
Right.
So even if I had a high-speed modem in the vehicle and I had the ability to write their software, it's actually their IP. And I have 150, we call it the loose confederation of software providers, 150 completely different software, programming languages, all the structure of the software is different. It's millions of code, and we can't even understand it all. So, that's why at Ford, we've decided in the second generation product to completely insource the electrical architecture.
Right.
And to do that, you need to write all the software yourself. But just remember, car companies haven't written software like this.
Yeah.
Ever. They've never written software. So we're literally writing how the vehicle operates, the software to operate the vehicle for the first time ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I watch way too many companies continue to try. I won't name the names because they're competitors, but it's shocking to me, how many people are sticking with very old electric architectures and software from other people, confederacy. It will never work. And no matter how many software engineers they hire, your car's not going to work. You're going to have problems. So we've just decided to go student body left on that and insource it all. Yeah. Like Henry Ford would have done.
So yes, they have never written software before, and like I have made countless videos about, how you just don't become a software company overnight. So to keep up with someone like Tesla, that is a software company first and a car company second, it's not going to be easy. But I completely agree with Jim. They have to get that software in-house or they will never be able to keep up with the likes of Tesla, who can change their software every day if they need to. So as Jim said, it will never work if it's not in-house. And now it sounds like Ford is kind of giving up and finding out the hard way why you just don't transform your company from an old school car company to suddenly become a software company. And that is what car companies have to become to survive. An electric vehicle will become all about the software experience. But this also shows us why the old legacy automakers have no chance of making an autonomous vehicle on their own. They can't even manage to build an operating system for their cars. How the hell are they supposed to build an artificial intelligence, which is needed to make the car drive itself everywhere? Legacy automakers have no chance of doing this. None. Zip zero. Ford can rely on someone like Wave to make the software, but like I explained before, then there are suddenly two companies that need to earn money on it. And Jim has also said that their more affordable EVs they are working on with their skunk team will not have any driver assist features because the sensors are too expensive to put on a low-cost vehicle like that. So Ford has clearly shown us they will not be able to compete with Tesla that will bring the Cybercab on the street that only cost Tesla something like $15,000 to build when fully ramped. Ford can't even build a normal, basic, affordable EV for that price. And I'm getting less and less confident if any of the legacy automakers will survive in the automotive industry. The cars will become increasingly about software, which they can't write. The whole industry is going for autonomy, but again, legacy automakers can't write software for an operating system, let alone creating AI. The whole industry is moving to EVs, and they can't manufacture EVs profitable yet. And Tesla can make robotaxis cheaper than the others can even create a normal car. This will not end well. Like dear Jim said many years ago, they don't have the talent to shift to EVs. And boy, was he right about that. And like I said, you just don't suddenly become a software company. Software is hard, and good software is extremely hard. And I would like to read you a little story written by a former GM executive on how GM continues to plant the seeds for its own destruction. Michael Dunn, a former GM executive, wrote a nice and telling article this week about GM as he wrote. Here's the background. In 2020, GM executives in China found themselves under enormous pressure. Sales of the Chevy brand in China were in free fall, down 63% from their peak. GM and its joint venture partner SAIC were suddenly saddled with massive excess capacity and red ink. Yeah, funny to look at this chart. It is basically Tesla's China numbers, only backwards. Tesla is today selling about the same amount that GM did in 2018, and GM is selling about the same amount in 2024 that Tesla did in 2020. But according to many smart automotive analysts, Tesla is the one that have had the demand problem for at least 5 years. Yeah, right. But as Michael continues, Chinese executive at SAIC quickly came up with a solution. Why don't we export Chevys to Mexico? This would be a dramatic change. The SAIC GM 50-50 joint venture, since its inception in 1997, was always designed to produce in China for the China market only. To ally concerns, Chinese executives painted the pretty picture. SAIC would handle the hard work of manufacturing. All GM needed to do was tack on the Chevy brand, put the cars on the boat, and have Chevy dealers in Mexico deliver the cars. Made in China, Chevy sales started and rocketed higher each year, reaching 146,000 units in 2024. That was a massive 71% of all Chevys delivered in Mexico last year. The money guys at GM saw the deal as an elegant solution, almost genius. We are making incredible profits exporting from our Chinese joint venture to Mexico, an exuberant GM executive recently told me. Come on, GM people. By now, you must understand that the Chinese business person never does something for nothing. The deal instantly handed half the revenues and half the profits of every Chevy export to SAIC. More importantly, the arrangement gifted SAIC direct access to key new overseas markets. SAIC understood that as Mexican customers discovered that they were buying a Chinese product with a Chevy badge, they would become more open to trying other Chinese cars. So can you guess what was the best-selling Chinese car brand in Mexico for the past 3 years? That's right, MG. And who owns MG brand? It's SAIC, GM's China partner. GM, which offers 11 different models, sold 61,000 vehicles in Mexico last year. Number 2, BYD, delivered 42,000 and expect to sell 80,000 this year. An executive from the tech supplier in Mexico predict doom around the corner. That China Chevy deal, he told me, put GM in Mexico on a rapid path to becoming totally irrelevant. There are now 21 Chinese brands with more than 300 different models on offer in Mexico. Will they ever go back? It's too late. The Chinese are already here with good products and incredible prices, said every Chinese brand dealer when I asked whether US pressure could force Mexico to turn the Chinese away. Of course, President Trump could wake up tomorrow and demand that Mexico match America's 100% tariff on Chinese cars import. Who knows? But for now, at least, the action continues to go China's way. Ford and Stellantis just adopted GM's playbook. China partner builds, Detroit batch, and Mexico buys. Detroit continues to plant the seed of its own destruction. The Chinese are smiling at their good fortune and the naivety of the American partners. Or is this something darker? Detroit selling out Detroit? Yeah, GM is very quickly becoming irrelevant. Being killed in China, was killed in Europe, and now they are badly positioned with the new tariffs as their cars are only 50% built in the US. But let's see if Mary can turn this around. She did, after all, lead, and it mattered. Even though we mostly hear about how bad Tesla is apparently doing, well, in Norway, they just set some new records. The Tesla Model Y has become the most common car on Norwegian roads. This is a remarkable achievement for the all-electric crossover, which has also commanded the top spot in Norway's vehicle sales ranking for several years running. As per vehicle registration figures tracked by Norwegian Road Traffic Information Console, there were 68,000 Model Ys with Norwegian license plate at the end of March, beginning of April 2025. In recent week, the Model Y passed more than 70,000 registration as per a report from Elbil24. With the Model Y now becoming the most common car in Norway, the Toyota RAV4 now stands in second place, followed by the Nissan Leaf and the Volkswagen Golf and the Toyota Yaris. The Model Y also topped the country's vehicles registration ranking for the last 3 years, and it set a record for selling the most vehicles in a year in 2023, breaking Volkswagen Beetle's record that has stood since 1969. It is undeniable that the Tesla Model Y has helped Norway push its electric vehicle transition. As of today, electric vehicles now account for 28% of Norwegian car fleet, a notable portion of which is comprised of the all-electric crossover. While the Model Y's achievement in Norway have been impressive, the vehicle could expand its reach into the country even more this year. Tesla, after all, has been aggressively pushing in the new Model Y to customers, with the company offering a 0% interest promotion for the vehicle. These efforts, as well as the new Model Y's improved features, should make the vehicle even more compelling to Norwegian car buyers this year. For context, the Model Y was already the best-selling vehicle of any type in 2024 in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, and the Netherlands. So let's see, when 2025 comes to an end, if the brand damage is as bad as many people want us to think. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this new show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. Neuralink wrote on X, "We received a breakthrough device designation from the FDA to help restore communication for individuals with severe speech impairment. This include those affected by ALS, stroke, spinal cord injury, cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, and other neurological conditions. If you or someone you love has lost the ability to speak, you can sign up to our patient registry today and help shape the future of communication." And Elon tuned in and wrote, "In the years to come, Neuralink will make this technology widely available so that ultimately anyone will have access to it." So cool. This will help so many people around the world. And Nick shared this video and wrote, "The 6th generation Waymo Robotaxis use a customized version of the Seagate Mix minivan. It starts at around $40,000 in China before any modification and sensors, which include 13 cameras, 4 LiDAR sensors, 6 radars, and external audio receivers. Basically, a tariff machine. Yes, this is what people think will be able to compete against Tesla's Cybercab that is built in the US for about $15,000. No contest." And Tesla China produced 76,000 vehicles in March, so that was a very good number considering this was the month that they ramped up production of the refreshed Model Y. But the number they exported was only 4,700 units. So as usual, we will probably see headlines in the beginning of Q2 about how Tesla is down in sales in some countries around the world as they are not getting many models from China. But that should all change as Tesla start exporting some more vehicles in April and May. And Microsoft is reportedly preparing to host Elon Musk's Grok AI model in his Azure cloud platform, specifically through Azure AI Foundry, enabling developers and Microsoft team to integrate Grok into applications and services. This moves align with Microsoft's strategy to expand its AI ecosystem amid tensions with OpenAI. Seems like Grok is taking the world by storm. Who would have thought just 2 years ago that ChatGPT would have a competitor that was leading by now? Very, very impressive. And as AJ reported, General Motors expect a hit of $4 to $5 billion from tariffs, as Mary Barra said. We are updating our full-year EBIT adjusted guidance to a range of $10 billion to $12.5 billion, including a current tariff exposure of $4 to $5 billion. Yeah, this is really going to hurt the American brands. But as I mentioned in my Overflow News show, Tesla will be the one that is hit the least. And Electric Nick wrote on X, NIO's delivery growth over the past 6 months has been driven entirely by the launch of the more affordable sub-brand Onvo. But after peaking in December, Onvo sales have since plateaued, raising question about momentum going forward. Yes, let's see if NIO can compete with the likes of Xiaomi and Huawei. And if you haven't noticed, in one of the latest updates that Tesla has got for their vehicles, they once again allow you to have accessories powered on in your car even when you leave it. So that is crucial for my summer holiday, as me and my family are once again going on a road trip to Norway with the tent on the back of the Model Y and the fridge in the sump trunk. So very bad that Tesla made the function disappear, but it has come back and is even now better, as now it only powers the devices, whereas before you had to turn on Sentry mode or Camp mode to have the power turned on for the accessories. So it should now draw less power than before, but I will definitely check it all out on my upcoming road trip, so stay tuned for that. And if you are wondering why you only hear bad news about Elon Musk all the time, well, that is because Elon Musk gets 96% negative media coverage, according to a new analysis from the Media Research Center, or MRC. The MRC analyzed ABC's World News Tonight, NBC's Nightly News, and CBS Evening News from January the 20th through April the 9th. And there was basically only bad news for Elon. So I guess they will not talk about Elon Musk's Neuralink that is making speechless people speak again, like I have just shown in this news show. But apparently you will not hear about that in the mainstream media. And Electric Nick also shared this chart with many of the new startup car brands in China. And you can see a sharp rise of Xiaomi there, but Xpeng has also risen sharply by the end of 2024 together with Leap Motors. But Galaxy has simply just exploded. That is a brand owned by Geely. But that is one hell of a rise. But if we zoom out a bit and put BYD into the chart, we can see that BYD is towering far above everyone else. Even if we take BYD's BEVs only, they are still far in front. And the rise doesn't look that impressive when BYD is on the chart, but the Chinese are rising and there is no stopping them. And Arthur wrote on X, the time has come. I tapped a button in the app, my phone paired with my Model Y, and the doors unlocked. Seat position, mirrors, music, navigation, and all other settings from my previous car are on this car as I sit down. This can only happen with a Tesla. Yes, if you have more than one Tesla, or have tried to get a loan a Tesla, or like Arthur here, bought a completely new one, you will understand how Tesla software is unmatched in the industry when it comes to convenience of the driver profile that follows you, not the car. And Jensen from Nvidia talked about how robots will be widely available in just 5 years' time.
A self-driving car is a robot. Now, it's taken us about 10 years. And now Waymo is, in cities all around the nation and is doing fantastically. And it's terrific to see the Waymos driving around in San Francisco and other cities. It took about 10 years. Robots will take less time. And the reason for that is because we can constrain the environments where the robots operate. And so the robots don't have to be as general purpose as a car. Once you're in San Francisco, you got to work in every street and every single condition. And so in the case of a robot, we could be a lot more constrained. From the moment that something is prototypable, fairly functional, to the time that it becomes high volume product, call it 5 years. And so we have quite high functioning robots today. And so in some 5 years time, we're going to see, robots get pumped out of these factories. And every car company who makes cars today will be very good at building robots. They just have to get good at the software part of it, the AI part of it, but that technology is really, fairly available.
So the question is, who is in the best position to build robots at scale? Well, no surprise, my money is on Tesla. And as I have shown in other news shows, it is not only Tesla that had a bad Q1. The Volkswagen Group's operating income dropped to a long-term low, as numbers reported this morning, as AJ shared on this chart. And as you can see, this is the third year in a row the Volkswagen is declining by a lot in Q1. And Jim Farley was also out saying that he agrees with Trump's tariffs. So let's hear it from Jim himself.
Well, first of all, Ford is really different. We make 80% in the U.S., more than any other manufacturer. In fact, we made 400,000 more vehicles than our next competitor, and that would fill up the entire island of Manhattan. That's how big of a gap we've made. So, look, we think this is really great for the country. We really support the president's initiative. We never left the America on car production. And so this moderation is reasonable, I think, for mostly our competitors. They need more time, but at Ford, we're in good shape. And this is the right thing to do. We really appreciate the dialogue we've had with the president, but we have a lot more work to do with him and the team.
Yes, Ford produces more units in the US than any other car company, but Tesla is still the one that is the biggest winner, as I showed in my Overflow news show this week, as they have models that are 85 to 87.5% made in America. So with the 15% rebate the Trump administration is giving, Tesla is the only one that has car models that lives up to that. But yes, Ford does make more cars in America than anyone else, and good to hear Jim being so optimistic about the situation, because it cannot be easy. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my new supporters of this YouTube channel. My new YouTube members: Fujio B, Sloanoke, Henry Sinrich, and Mark Parham, and Yvonne Leville, or something like that. Sorry for butchering your names. Thank you so much for your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. And let's end off with a bit of fun. If you think Tesla is going to be the first that have developed true autonomous driving in China, well, think again. That is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it. And if you liked it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel, or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out as some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. It is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com. You can also become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos, behind the scenes, and access to all my research charts and spreadsheet also on bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.